Introducing the new party, We Live stream, every Tuesday and Thursday p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Ever go back to that cathedral, that Episcopal church, wherever that woman, bishop, whatever her name is, Trump, there are other Catholic churches, there are other churches that are around that area. No other Republican president should go back to that church until that lady is removed from that position, because that was not the place. Like I said again, as a pastor, I would have not done that. Even if it was Kamala and I'm more Republican leaning, I would not stand behind the sacred desk. If Kamala and Joe would have walked in my church and used that time when the national spotlight was on me to talk about how horrible Kamala was and embarrass and disrespect the office of the presidency of the United States. That is what that was. And so she should be removed immediately. She never should have been there. I don't know why his staff let her get behind that, knowing that she was an activist.
It's gonna come out how it come out. You feel me? Yo, none of this is rehearsed. Everything is off the top.
Vulgar. Welcome to the man cave. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the man cave, where we keep it raw and uncut, where we deal with men's issues. If y'all want the barbershop talk, we got it here. You ain't got to go unless you need a crispy lineup. I'm Vulgar.
I'm Gray Mars.
I'm 85 Slim.
I'm Easy. What up?
Okay.
What's up? I'm K-Dot. What's going on?
And we got, I guess, is Jordan Wells. You want to use your regular name, Jordan? I know you got a different name on your TikTok.
Yeah, Jordan. Yeah, I'm Jordan Wells. That's fine. Yeah, we voice USS A on there, but Jordan Wells as well.
Okay, for sure. Go ahead, Vogel.
All right. So we did play your intro. Did you want to give anything else about you before we get started?
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll go by. We have Voice USA. We were Reverend Jordan Wells. So a lot of people know us, Reverend Jordan Wells. We did that. We've been under that for a year, but now we're turning our thing into more of an organization, a media organization. But yeah, we've been doing politics for about 5 years. We've been on Dr. Phil. We've been on Fox News. That's about it. I've run for Congress before, so.
Cool. All right, let me run this first video.
An extremely dishonest narrative that we've seen emerging over the past few days. Many outlets in this room have been fear-mongering the American people into believing there is a constitutional crisis taking place here at the White House. I've been hearing those words a lot lately. But in fact, the real constitutional crisis is taking place within our judicial branch, where district court judges in liberal districts across the country are abusing their power to unilaterally block President Trump's basic executive authority. We believe these judges are acting as judicial activists rather than honest arbiters of the law. And they have issued at least 12 injunctions against this administration in the past 14 days, often without citing any evidence or grounds for their lawsuits. This is part of a larger concerted effort by Democrat activists and nothing more than the continuation of the weaponization of justice against President Trump. Quick news flash to these liberal judges who are supporting their obstructionist efforts. 77 million Americans voted to elect this president. And each injunction is an abuse of the rule of law and an attempt to thwart the will of the people. As the president clearly stated in the Oval Office yesterday, we will comply with the law in the courts, but we will also continue to seek every legal remedy to ultimately overturn these radical injunctions and ensure President Trump's policies can be enacted.
All right, so there you have it. Let's see, K. Dot, you want to start?
What do I think about this lady that stands up there and says that?
Yeah.
She's full of shit, dog. It's always 77 million people elected Trump. Cool. I get it. 77 million people didn't ask Trump to get up there and violate the Constitution and overreach his power. He's the executive branch. What him and Elon are doing, fine. That's all within his power. But when he oversteps, the reason the way the American power structure is set up is there's three branches, so one can't overstep the other. And he's crying again about not being able to wave his hands around and do what he wants. And that lady's getting up there because she's the true definition of what you guys think is DEI. She's not qualified for that job, but she's willing to get up there and lie and carry out his agenda. And that's all that's happening when she gets up there and says that stuff.
85.
Oh man. Hey, I'm just getting into the show. Let me warm up a little bit. Good. Trump is my president. I'm loving every minute of this thing, man. So let me warm up a little bit.
All right. Jordan?
I like her. I think the woman that was before her was a DEI pick because they said they wanted a gay woman and they wanted her to be black. So to me, that's the definition of a DEI pick. That woman that you're talking about actually ran for Congress, and she was an intern. But for the previous time, Trump's 2026, she was an intern during that time, learning the ropes, and she's actually one the Gen Zer. So I think that's pretty cool. It's very, very articulated, very intelligent. As far as the constitutional crisis go, though, I do believe we're in a constitutional crisis, and I believe it's these judges. We have to. I want to remind everybody that one of the reasons that Trump got elected. Now, I want you to remember, after January 6th, Trump was basically done. His political career was over, and everybody thought it was done. They thought there was no way that a person that they felt like led an assault on the Capitol could ever be back in the White House. But they thought DeSantis was the new guy, that he was going to be the new face of the Republican Party. But you know what happened? Lawfare began to happen, and that made Trump a martyr. I know people who don't like Trump, but when these judges began to indict Trump in all these courtrooms across America, a lot of people turned to vote for Trump because they felt like there was a problem. And so I do believe I'm a person where Trump can do whatever he wants. I'm going to agree with everything. So I do believe the only maybe case that they have that's solid is the birthright citizenship. I believe that can be debated and that can be argued. But a lot of these other cases, I believe these are judges that are overreaching because the Democrats know they have no power in the Senate, they have no power in the House, and so they're going to these judges. Why are these judges in liberal courtrooms? Most of them are in liberal states. They're pro-Democrat, and I have a lot of my content. I'm uncover. I'm about to be releasing the next few days, where a lot of these judges have conflict of interest. A lot of them donated to Joe Biden. A lot of them donated to Kamala. These are not Republican judges. These are not independent judges. These are not judges in Georgia or judges in blue districts. These are judges in liberal Democrat counties that don't like Trump and hate Trump. One of the judges called Trump a tyrant. He's recorded as calling Trump a tyrant and saying that Trump is basically recreating Jim Crow. Now you tell me how that's a biased judge. That's like
Let me,
that's like you guys going to court and a judge telling y'all, I don't like black people. I think all of them deserve to be in prison. And then
let
you
me
have
ask you
to
something,
stand
though.
before. Yeah, I'm done, y'all. But have to stand
Uh,
before him, and then he didn't think he's gonna give you a clean plate. That's not gonna
since
happen.
you since you've been in politics and government and stuff like that, is it true that the judges are supposed to interpret the law, not interfere with what Trump is doing? In a sense, like if he's making decisions to stop funding this or stop funding that, is that within his power? And the judges aren't really supposed to step in that. That's what I think. That's what she was trying to say is the judges are overstepping their power by not interpreting the law. They're actually interrupting what he's doing. They shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, like one of the laws said actually that he has to put up transgender. So he removed a lot of that transgender stuff from the government websites. One of the judges just came back and said that Trump has to re-put up the transgender stuff on the government page. Now, why is a federal judge telling the president of the United States what he can put on the website? Now, I think he has a case. They have a case. The Democrats have a case for the birthright citizenship. So when Trump first passed that executive order about birthright citizenship, I believe that it would be challenged, and rightfully so, because there's the debate on the birthright citizenship. But most of these other executive orders were in Boston, New Jersey, and these judges are very liberal. And I believe it's important that as a judge that you're independent and non-biased. I don't think it would be right for them to take Joe Biden or Obama and put them in Florida for a crime they committed. Do you know why? Because you're going to get a 98% Republican jury. That's like what happened with Jim Crow. Y'all remember Jim Crow? How did Emmett Till get off? How in the world do you have somebody who had all these witnesses, but they were all white jurors in the South and with a judge that was racist? So I believe that it's important what your judges. I believe it's important what jury pool you get your jury out, get your jury out of. And I believe it's important if the judge has a conflict of interest. What is his voting record? Did he vote for Democrat or Republican? Because we try to say we're not biased, even though we voted for one person, but it's almost impossible not to be. If I was a judge, I wouldn't be. I would be very biased.
I just want to say he talked about these judges who are so liberal. 3 of them were nominated by Reagan, or 2 of them nominated by Reagan. The other one was nominated by Trump. Some of them birthright citizenship. The other one was talking about the 3,000 workers he wanted to fire. There's a whole list of these guys who went out there. Some of them went back to Bill Clinton, to Obama. But it's not just liberal judges that are stopping him because they know that he's overreaching his power. It's just people not willing to kiss his ass and follow along with his overreach of power and his agenda to just get back to get his trying to get his get back with the lawfare, and he was unjustly this and all that and the whole tirade. But y'all have to be real here, man. He just doesn't have the power to do all these things, and these judges doing this that's their job. They're supposed to put in these injunctions. They're supposed to stop you when you're doing things that need to be reviewed by law. We just can't let a president write an executive order and do whatever he wants at the cost of American people. It's just not the power. It's just not how the power structure works. Our federal judges have the right to protect the citizens, and that's what they're doing. They're protecting 3,000 jobs. They're protecting and if I wasn't mistaken, it is the transgender about transgender individuals being sent to transfer transgender women to their men's right. This was done by a guy who was nominated by Reagan, Royce Lamberth. He's been a judge since 87. So even one of the oldest Republicans you probably still have kicking denied Trump and a trans issue. Like, he just doesn't have the right to do that because these things need to be questioned and reviewed for the safety of Americans, whether you believe in their existence, their gender, or what they identify as. Regardless, people need to be protected. That's just it.
Easy. Do you think these judges are overstepping their power?
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to attack the Constitution. I feel like they're trying to modify it. I mean, maybe it does need to be modified because how long ago was that shit made? Well, part of my language. I mean, that was made a long time ago. So maybe the Constitution does need some modification. That's how I feel about it. And Jordan said everything, and K. Dot said everything. So, hey.
But I have to put in this. Why is it? Well, first of all, the 3,000 jobs. We can break down each individual case. The 3,000 jobs. Okay, for instance, one of the executive orders put a halt on Trump freezing, and he was going to freeze all government spending except Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Trump was elected by a landslide, to say that again, because he won states he shouldn't have won. because one of the things he ran on was actually Doge and auditing the government. He said he was going to drain the swamp. He was going to shut down the Department of Education. He was going to audit the government. He was going to balance the budget. He ran on these things. And the American people are behind him. His approval rating is higher than it ever has been. 56% of Americans think that Trump, and that's more, he's more popular than he was during the first term. His approval rating is higher than when he got elected. 70% of Americans think he's doing everything he promised that he was going to do. So the American people are behind this. And yes, like I said, the birthright citizenship, I'll give you that there's some interpretation on birthright citizenship. But I do believe Trump wants to challenge the premise that a person can come over here illegally and then they can have a child and that gives them citizenship. So that's like a person I used to work at Walmart. That's like a person manipulating the system. That's like a person going into a Walmart, stealing something, and then saying, I have kids, you can't arrest me. No, DCF is coming and you're going to jail. And so they shouldn't get citizenship because they marry an American or because they broke the law. When you come over here illegally, you broke the law. Period. Our laws, everybody has laws around their border. Everybody. China, everybody. Israel, everybody has borders. And so we are all of a sudden supposed to let everybody in our country, murderers, criminals, terrorists, they all supposed to come in. We're supposed to shut up, and we're just supposed to no. And so a lot of them, those illegal immigrants, are manipulating the system. They come over here, they find an American to have to marry, or they come over here and have children, so that when they have children, they'll get citizenship. And that should be challenged. Now, if your parents are over here and they're legal and they have children, they should stay. But if your parents are an illegal immigrant that maybe committed a crime and they have a baby, that child should not get citizenship in this country. That child needs to go back to where he came from with his parent.
What I want to add about the video, Volga, is the three branches of government. So it has to be checks and balances. So Trump says, that's what you was about to say. Trump is the executive. So you got a legislative branch and a judicial branch. They're supposed to do checks and balances on the other branches. They're supposed to check each other. That's the only thing that I would add to that.
So, and that's what I was asking, because I feel she has a point, because what she's trying to say is, I've heard a few other people say that judges shouldn't be stopping Trump for doing certain things. Like if he has permission to do it, or if it's within his power, do it. And what I mean by that is like him cutting funding to a certain program. These judges feel like, okay, these people are getting hurt, so they're stepping in. That's overstepping their boundary, because all they're supposed to do is interpret the laws on the books or add new laws, maybe. But they're really supposed to interpret the laws on the book and decide if he broke that law, then they can stop it. If he didn't break the law, it don't matter if somebody's going to suffer from it. They shouldn't be stepping in if he didn't break the law. And that's what she's trying to say, is he's doing things within his power. People don't like it. The judges don't like it, but they're being emotional and making emotional decisions by stopping it. That's what she's trying to say that he's doing, just to bring it down on, layman's terms.
I agree.
And I kind of feel like a lot of the stuff that they're doing is emotional. It is an emotional liberal decision that they're making. Like, oh, these people are hurt, so we got to stop it. No, if Trump has the authority to do it, y'all shouldn't be stepping in. Like you said, the birthright citizenship, the courts are determining what that means, what that law means. And if they determine that Trump can't override that because it's a law and it means these people get it, then they get it because the judge has said this is the law. You get what I'm trying to say?
But that's where you're being disingenuous, because he doesn't have the power to do it. That's why they can challenge him.
He has the power to cut. He has the power to cut funding programs.
No, he doesn't. He's not the purse. He's not Congress. He doesn't have the power to cut funding.
He is to allocate where the money goes.
No, he doesn't.
Yes.
He does not have the power to do that. That is not the president's job. That's why they can challenge him in court for it. They have to find if he has grounds to be able to do that. If not, it continues on. He has the power to rename an executive office like the U.S. Digital Service to Doge. He has the power to do that because it's underneath him. Nobody can challenge him on that. He has the power to make Elon the head of Doge as a special government employee and not an elected official. He can do that. He can appoint people to certain positions underneath his branch. He can appoint the FBI. He can appoint whoever he wants. That's fine. But to stop the federal spending after it's already been approved is not his jurisdiction. That falls underneath Congress. They are the purse. That's why they can stop him. That's just the law.
Even if it's corrupt.
It doesn't matter. He signed. It doesn't matter if it. Listen, that's not the argument. The argument isn't about corrupt. Now you're talking about feelings and what you think is corruption.
No, it's not. It's not
Hold
feelings.
on. Listen, you don't have any proof. No one has been arrested.
Yes.
Who's been arrested for fraud? Who's been arrested for fraud?
I don't have it on here, but I can sure send it to you, sir. That
Send it.
Elon Musk, they have been doing audits and they have so much corruption and so much fraud. They've been arrested? Very honest. It's been on all the TV.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't.
It has.
Who's been listen. Give me one name of one person who's been caught doing fraud.
No, I'm saying that they have uncovered fraud. In USA, they have uncovered millions of dollars in fraud.
So where is the fraud? What is the fraud? Where did the money say it was going that it didn't end up?
Sending money.
I can give you one. FEMA. They just
how was FEMA lying?
They gave the $52 million to illegals.
Where is FEMA at? Who's over FEMA?
You asked for.
I'm asking you who's, but I'm telling you why it's not fraud. I'm telling you why it's not fraud. Who's over FEMA?
Do what?
Who's over?
You tell me who's over FEMA.
The Department of Homeland Security, which is the border, which they get funding to take care of illegals.
They don't get any funding.
Yes, they do.
They funded that against Trump's wishes.
No.
They did. And
Congress passed money to go to the Department of Homeland Security, which is the border, which they are in charge of FEMA, and they allocate funding to take care of illegal people.
You're the only one that didn't see all the money that's been basically distributed to these other countries behind our back. You're the only guy
that's not distributed behind our back. That's called
Americans are not okay with that. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok.
I don't care. Your opinion doesn't listen. No, you don't have to be okay with it. Bro, I understand you don't. You may not like that the money was sent here to help LGBTQ. Go ahead, brother.
Senator Kennedy gave a press conference 2 days ago in regards to the funding that was found that they've been spending, and he didn't even know about it. He was shocked himself. His exact words was, "I've been in this game for 8 years. Elon Musk has been in this thing for a week, and look at what he found." He started off like that.
What does that mean?
And then he went down the line of all the funding that's been going out that the American citizens had no clue about. That's a problem, bro.
Okay, so I will give you, maybe you don't like where they're sending the money. That's fine. You don't like what they're funding in foreign relations. That's fine. It's not, hold on, but it's not fraud.
But you should, it's fraud if you don't know about it.
No, it isn't. If you paid your taxes and the government is allowed to use tax dollars to invest in other countries for foreign relations, that's what the government has been set up to do.
Schools, bro.
Again, that's called foreign relations. That's exactly what y'all don't like. It's because you don't like what it's funding. If it was funding missiles, if it was funding,
I don't like the fact that we're in debt.
Everyone's in debt. That's the way it works.
Everybody's not in $38 trillion in debt. That's not true. China is not in the type of debt that we're in. That's not true.
Okay, everyone's in debt. I didn't say they're not in greater debt or lesser. I just said everyone's in debt.
If we keep on going the way we are, we're going to have an economic collapse. Because one thing I know, I used to be a high school teacher. I've studied history, and I'm telling you, America, if Trump did not get elected and we continue to spend money the way we are, we'll be just like the Roman Empire, where they were so much debt that their entire civilization, their entire civil. We can't keep spending money. We cannot continue to do it. It is impossible. If you ran your household the way that our government runs our house, the country, we would all be homeless.
So how does a government get funding then?
The taxpayer.
Okay, so why is he giving everyone a gigantic tax cut?
Who?
How does that help? Trump. Why would he lower the tax rate? The way it helps is because when people pay less taxes, they spend more money. When people pay less taxes, they spend more money.
If I'm a person and I get $600 or $700 on my check each month because I'm going to go spend money. I'm going to go grocery shopping more. I'm going to go out and go get stuff. That's why tax cuts are better.
And
But what's
people,
not better is what they're doing, which is pimping and prostituting us. People like Chuck Schumer, who is worth $81 million, and their salary is $100,000 a year. How in the world are you a congressperson and you go into office making $100,000 a year? Trump is, and people want to talk about Trump. Trump is the only person his salary who got less going into office. He lost money. Elon Musk is losing money doing this.
This is great gish galloping, but it's not to the point. That the simple fact
It is to the point. It's saying
it's
this.
not.
You might be making a good point. You're
There you
making
go again.
what you're saying is this. Basically, because they have the right to send your money, because they're in office, they have the right to send your money where they want to send it. But the American people voted for Donald Trump, and they said we want to end of it. We want the end of it.
You want to end it, right? So why didn't Trump end it during his first term? Why didn't the Republicans that you voted for not? So the Republicans have been in Congress for like 8 years. They've been in charge, roughly 8 years. They have approved every single dollar that is left out of this country.
Oh, sir. Listen, I'm not, like I said, that's why I told you, I'm an independent thinker. I am not, listen, I got Republicans in my city don't like me.
Right.
If a Republican is corrupt, I'm going to call out Republicans.
But Trump signed off on the fraud.
And they are corrupt. Any of them that did are corrupt.
So then Trump's corrupt.
Who?
Trump.
Okay, guys, let's move along. Vulgar, go ahead.
Hey, you know what? It was good conversation. I'm letting them go through. So I guess another question I could ask: do y'all think a lot of what's been found, a lot of these things that have been funded, do you think politicians have been doing this to skim money off the top of it?
What was your question? Somebody got feedback. I think it was easy. Go ahead. What was your question? Easy, your jacket, bro. It's making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Volker.
Do y'all think a lot of these things that have been funded, that those just finding, are things that politicians are putting in place to skim money off the top?
Absolutely.
Just like what he was saying with like Chuck Schumer coming away with 81 million. That's what it sounds like to me. I feel like a lot of these stuff that Congress is passing with the debt ceiling and passing new debt, they're taking a lot of it off the top. Ukraine being an example where, Zelensky said that he didn't get all the money. But I don't know if it was KDOT or something saying that the money doesn't go straight to them. It's in like arms and weapons and stuff like that.
Jay said that on Monday.
Oh, Jay, yeah. But if y'all think that's a thing, go ahead and talk on it.
Yeah, I just want to add real quick. This is the thing out, man. I've been listening. I start to notice that you mentioned the Republican Party a lot. You go back to Reagan, and you mentioned a lot of things that the Republicans do. I want to let you know straight up. I know not all Republicans are on the up and up.
Yep.
Trump's first term actually proved that. That's where the term rhinos came about. With that being said, I used to be a Mike Pence fan until J6. Mike Pence had a job to do. He didn't do that job. You see what I'm saying? So I understand what you're saying, but I don't basically represent all Republicans. I represent Republicans that's doing the right thing. And there's a lot of them that, again, he has to drain the swamp. Mm-hmm. That's where this comes about. So his first term, he didn't really know who was really for him, but he knew how many people was against him. And on J6, he really knew how big the blanket was. He knew how many people was in this swamp. So going forward, I see that this man has fought for everything, and I've never seen a president move like he moved. I've never seen him take the adversity, and this is bigger than him. You know what I mean? That's why I fight for him, because I know it's bigger than him. And he's looking at it longevity-wise, grandchildren. He has a legacy, and he's not going to be the man to destroy this country. It's going to be the total opposite. Trust me.
Great. You got anything to add? You've been quiet.
Basically, I understand like what you guys are saying when y'all saying like, okay, we can't trust politicians. Like, there's a video that we did a while ago. Hey, Easy, stay muted. Your jacket making too much noise. But I don't know if we can say, hey, they're stealing this money until we can like show, okay, they're taking this money. Because I am like, with campaign donations and with everything like that. We don't know what they spend the money on, Republican or Democrat. All politicians are bought in some type of way. Somebody is giving them money that's extremely powerful, whether it's George Soros on the left side or whether it's Elon Musk now, who used to be on the left, on the right side, who basically funded Trump's campaign. So there's dark money everywhere. Are people getting some money off the top or getting like a little money on the side? I don't know, but I wouldn't condemn Republican or Democrat till we have evidence.
Cool.
I wouldn't say they're doing this to skim money off the top. If you find them stealing money, I wouldn't be surprised. Politicians do crooked shit all the time. Case in point, the most recent one you have is Bob Menendez. But what I will say is, you can't just trust anybody. Like I said, one of the funniest points I think is we try to scrutinize the politicians. Yeah, you should, right? But we're also not scrutinizing the people like Elon, who was being investigated months before he tried to shut down US aid. They were investigating him for his Starlink and his internet set up in Ukraine, and they were probing into his. And all of a sudden, he takes aim at US aid and wants to shut it down and audit it and stop it from continuing as his probe. If y'all don't see a conflict of interest there, then you're not being genuine. I just don't like it. We want to talk about who's skimming money off the top. Talk about the guy who used his status as the wealthiest man in the world to cozy up to the president, the most powerful man in the world, and take down the organization that was probing into him doing something illegal when he got money from them to do the program. So he took our tax dollars, launched his satellites, made $1 billion, violated code of conduct somehow. That's why they were probing into him, became Doge, and shut down the very system that was probing into him doing something. And we're going to, probably fine him and take his money back or shut down his Starlink in Ukraine. But hey, you guys don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about condoms going to Mozambique, Gaza, just to be correct, and not Gaza like the Gaza Strip. Do what you want.
All right, I'm gonna switch over a little bit. I will say I think it's a good thing that the government is being audited. Would y'all agree?
Great thing.
Yeah.
All right, so this is going to be a couple parts. I actually was going to start off on the religious part, but I came across a video earlier. I get attacked a lot, for being red pill and calling out the black community. They say I call out the black women the most, which has been recently, but definitely call out the black men too. But I actually have a black woman that kind of sounds like me. So I'm going to play her, and then we'll come back and y'all can get your opinions. And this is basically saying the black community don't want to change. So is it okay for the black leaders and preachers to profit off of the black community pain, knowing that they don't want to change? So that's what we're starting at.
Women accountable. Black women, unfortunately, we have adopted this mentality that I can do whatever I want to do and can't nobody tell me anything. And this is why we are where we're at. We live in a very selfish, egotistical society now that nobody cares. If you're a black woman and the whole black woman accountable, you have to be ready to fight, because it's going to come with a lot. I'm always thinking about how young girls are being influenced. So what us grown women are doing, it's influencing these girls to do these out of control, I don't care attitudes. They have the most disgusting attitudes, and you can't even check them because they have their moms who say I could do whatever I want. So can't no one hold us accountable. Not a black man. Your white boss probably, that's probably the only one who can tell us what to do because he pay us. A gay man can tell us what to do. If it's a black woman or a black man, a straight black man, we don't want to hear it.
Opinions.
I like. Oh, you want to say something, Jordan?
I think it's good. I think she's right. I think the black culture, I talk about the black culture anyway. I wrote a book called Stealing the Soul of Black America. And I really believe that we are black people on a plantation. I believe slavery has been repackaged, and I believe many black people are in mental slavery. Not just black people who are, not as well informed. I mean, I educated black people, because, we were raised a certain way. Like, for instance, I was raised to be taught that Republicans are racist and that Democrats are for the poor. That's what my mom taught me. And she still kind of believes that. I mean, she's changing a little bit, but she still believes that. And so what really changed for me was becoming a Christian, to be honest, because I just couldn't support. I don't care how deep my beliefs in the Democratic Party was. I just could not support the things that they were doing as a Christian. I could not do it. And that made me change the way I voted a little bit. So I stopped wanting to vote because I thought both of them were, but then I'd start to see change. But what bothers me as a pastor is that a lot of Christians don't vote based off their beliefs. We can go in church, and if anybody have ever been in church, hoop and shout, but we don't vote based off our convictions. And even as black men, I don't know how most black men can support the Democratic Party because they become real feminine to me. I think I think Democratic Party has become a really gay party. I mean, I don't see how
Oh,
straight men can support it. I just don't. I mean, they only people they care about is transgender. I mean, so I don't know how real masculine men who are rugged men can support it. I just don't. It doesn't appeal to me as a man anymore. The days are over of the Barack Obama, the bro code of we were going playing basketball. Now that Tim Walls, you mean that was their appeal to men was Tim Walls, and I wouldn't even trust Tim Walls around my children, to be honest. He has a feminine energy to him, and so I don't see and a lot of black people don't really even believe the way that the Democratic Party believes. Most black people are okay with gay, but they're not for the radical transgender stuff. Most black women are not, most black men especially. 80% of black men are not with the transgender stuff. But they still by majority vote. You think black men are okay with their children hearing about drag queen story hour? No.
Nope, absolutely not.
What black man, strong masculine black man, is sitting there? I know my daddy got out of jail. I could not imagine my father sending me to school and hearing, "Daddy, what you do today?" "Oh yeah, my teacher read me a drag queen book. She came in dressed up. It was a man. He had breasts and he had a wig." My daddy would have came up to the school and would sue me today and been trying to fight the dude that was there. So I don't see as a man how your masculinity don't get checked. Like I can't get with that, So I just feel like black people need to get off the plantation. It's okay but I'm called a Uncle Tom for thinking different. I've been called Uncle Tom. We have a black
Preach.
man on the Supreme Court that's not even respected because he's a Republican. Clarence Thomas. He's not black somehow because he's a Republican.
He's a sellout.
Candace Owens. She's not black because she thinks differently.
He's a sellout.
Larry Elder how are these people who have black experiences less than because they just chose to leave the plantation?
Right.
Who's the one that's a brain surgeon?
Yeah. What's his name? Yeah. Ben Carson.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I'm not a sellout because I'm not gonna sell my Christian beliefs to vote Democrat. I'm not doing it. So if they want to call me Uncle Tom, or what's another one they call me? Sambo. They call me all of Sambo, Uncle Tom, Clarence Thomas. I'm all of them. Yeah. I'm not voting Democrat no more. So I would refuse to vote Democrat unless I see a conservative Democrat that represents my values.
I concur.
Is your mic good? Now go ahead. Go ahead, Ethan.
I concur. Yeah, I concur, man. I mean, I see a lot of black folks, they're turning Republicans. You know what I'm saying? Because, I'm not with that transgender stuff. I'm not with all that extra stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? I got an old school kind of soul to me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think they try to take away masculinity. I mean, I'd rather go Republican if I were to choose. Honestly, I didn't vote, but that's by my personal decision. But if I were to select a party, honestly, I'm going Republican.
Hold on, you didn't vote?
No.
Oh man, K-Dot, go ahead.
Oh man, all right. Yeah, I love it when it's just like Republicans cry about being called out their name, but he started his whole spiel off by calling anyone who's a black man on the left feminine and has a feminine energy, and you come at masculinity of any black man on the left, and you know what? That's fine, man. You got to attack masculinity because you have to uphold this like I'm so tough exterior. I'm not with all that, but if you ask me, the most masculine thing you can do is provide safe spaces for everyone, even if you don't agree with them. Like me, I may not agree with transitioning a kid. I may not agree with this idea over here. I may not agree with you forcing religion on your kid before they have an old enough age to decide. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create different spaces all throughout my nation and my neighborhood that allows you to live your life how you want to live, as long as it's safe and effective and doesn't cause anyone else any harm. See, you guys don't like ideas that differ from your ideology and your agenda, but yet you'll cry about everyone else's. Everyone has an agenda and everyone has an image for their life. That's why this country is so great, because you're allowed to live your life and express yourself. Freedom of expression. That's the first number one constitutional right, freedom of expression and speech in this country. And when people do that because you refuse to understand, or you refuse to go get the new science because you think it's all mumbo jumbo because of what your daddy did when you were raised, when people were denying the fact that gay was a thing, where people were denying the fact that interracial couples could be a thing, when they thought the science was bad, when they thought black people were naturally dumber but had a different body makeup and could withstand more pain, and told you that when you went to the hospital you didn't need medications, which led to higher death rates of black women when they were giving birth. See, all of that's that Republican nonsense bullshit Christianity kind of science that y'all mixed in and fucked up a bunch of people's lives for decades, but then blame Democrats because we allow trans people to exist. But hey, man, you keep on going with that. That's y'all history, and you're damned to repeat it if y'all continue to be in control.
So, K-Dot, you
All
said you
right.
would create a space as long as it's not affecting anyone else. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes, I don't care about your emotions, but you can live your life while other people exist. That's what I'm saying. I'm just setting it up.
Emotions tattooed on my arm for a reason. I don't care about emotion. I just asked you a question.
Yeah.
You don't think transgenderism and all that stuff is affecting the children in any way? Like,
no.
I digress.
If you put all men on an island together, they'll be dead in 100 years.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because it's no matter how people want to make it to where it's 100 genders is okay. There are only two genders.
No, there's only two sexes.
There's
two sexes.
And they don't want to just.
That's science.
It's not about just creating safe spaces, sir. In Florida, in where I am, they were trying to teach transgenderism to other people's kids. That's why you had parents at school board meetings. You don't have a right to talk to my child about transgenderism.
Yes, they do. It's called the public school.
No, you don't. Well, if they do, they're going to have a problem.
If you don't like what public schools offer, go to private.
Like that.
Go to private. Then go to private schools.
The public school that gets funding from the government, my tax dollars, your tax, they wouldn't like it if I came in there and talked my kid. Can I come in your school if you're a person that don't believe in Jesus? Can I come in your school and indoctrinate your child to believe the Bible? So since they took the Bible out of school, you're not going to indoctrinate with the religion of transgenderism.
Separation of church and state. And if you want to teach religion,
they're going to separate transgenderism from my child.
If you want to separate church and state, and if you want to put religion in school, teach about all religions, not just a preference of Christianity, which they're doing in multiple states in this country currently, because you have a Christian doctrine agenda that you're following. Because they're not talking about putting the Torah or talking about putting the Quran in schools. They only want to hang the 10 Commandments and put the Bible back in certain schools. That's an agenda. So I don't have a problem with kids learning about religion. Sure, teach them about all of them so they can deal with the one that most resonates with them. And then when you talk about teaching transgenderism, they're not teaching kids to be trans. They're teaching them that they exist. They're teaching them that they're normal, everyday people who just happen to be 1% of the population.
I don't believe it's normal. I don't
believe you don't have to believe it's normal. That's not. Listen.
I don't believe it's normal. I believe it's a mental health.
It's not mental health. You're not a doctor. I don't care about your opinion.
Mental health disorder.
Opinion.
And
That's
I
your
believe.
opinion.
No, I believe.
That's your opinion. I don't care about your opinion.
Can I get my turn?
I don't want to have to mute everybody, but we got to bring it back to the subject, and I'm gonna go to 85 and ask them this question to try to keep it on.
Yeah.
So the lady in the video basically said that black women do not listen to anybody, maybe they white boss or they gay friend. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that the gay black man has more influence on a black woman?
Why do I think the say it again? What was the question? I'm sorry.
Why would you think the gay black man would have more influence on a black woman than a straight black man?
Because they want to be like them. There's no threat. There's a lot, man. I mean, like you see a lot of women that have gay guys as best friends, because they can talk to that guy about all their problems. I know a guy right here and where I live. I mean, you know, he cool, you know, but he's very flamboyant. Got a lot of respect, but he hangs out with nothing but girls, obviously. But that's the influence. I mean, he starts twerking as soon as the song comes on. Like, he'll just start twerking. I'd be like, wow. But I mean, it's just like I said, they just have a guy that wants to be just like them. And I think women enjoy that. You know, I think women enjoy that. Oh, that a guy that just lets himself go and be feminine. And they have a lot more control over that guy too. And they can talk to him and drink together and laugh and all that good stuff. So it's compatibility. I want to say, and that's cool. But like I said, don't try to play me like it's normal. It ain't normal. It's far from it.
All right. Gray, I wanted to ask you. So she also said that the black woman will listen to her boss a lot of the times. Do you think that because now women have rights, they have their own checking accounts, they can make their own money, do you think that we lost power in that? Because now that white boss is the one paying their bills, do you think that's a good reason why black women don't want to listen to black men anymore?
I'll give you a comparison, a metaphor. Like, think about it. Black women do that with their bosses, right? But they won't come listen to their men at home. But you'll have black dudes, the most hardcore street dudes, gold teeth, all of their mouth, dreads, everything. They see a black dude, they the toughest guy you ever met. But as soon as the blue sirens come on, them sirens could get behind them, or they're in front of that judge, yes, sir. No, sir. Completely different attitude, proper, completely different. So we'll respect them because we know what they'll do to us. They'll put us in themselves and hide us away. Same way the black woman know that white man pay her every month. So we'll respect them, but we won't respect our own people because we feel like they ain't got no money, they ain't got no power. So we're gonna respect you for what can you do for them. And that's how women look at a lot of us black men. That they don't have no respect for us because it's a lot of us doing petty, dumb stuff where we should be, you know, building up and taking care of the household. So that's what's going on.
Easy.
Yeah, I gotta go off what Slim said. You know, they try to act like the opposite sex. That's what they're trying to do. So it's a lot of. I feel like masculinity is like rare nowadays, for real. You know what I mean? I just gotta be 100 about it. That's it.
And I gotta respond to that on the left with all the. I feel like the beta male stuff. I feel like all that's buzzwords, masculinity. Even when they call y'all coons or whatever, I feel like all that's buzzwords. That's just a word to try to get under somebody's skin and tick somebody off. Like, do I think I wasn't when I voted for Kamala Harris? I was not thinking about a transgender at all. I don't know any. That they don't affect my life. I was thinking this person seems smart. This person seems like they're going to be best for the economy. I feel like Trump is funny. Trump is charismatic, but Trump is unpredictable. So I feel like when people say that, and even with you guys, when they say, "Oh, you're a coon," this is that. Like I just said, Trump is charismatic. Trump's a likable guy. So like I don't feel like somebody black should be attacked because they feel like Trump is the answer. So I just feel like it's buzzwords with the insults from both sides.
Buzzwords, but I think it describes a characteristic. So if I had to give my opinion on it, I think a lot of the reasons why black women will tend to veer towards gay men it's almost like your parents. If you with your brother and sister, y'all acting up, it's okay. But as soon as the parents come home, that accountability factor, now y'all got to straighten up, and now the fun's over. And I really feel like that's a lot of what's going on. The black men who are probably on the conservative side, who have morals, who have standards, who have high expectations. I think it's gotten so out of whack in the black community, everybody doing what they want to do, that when one of us step up and try to bring some order, they're looking at us like, who are you? And I would say a lot of it's on us too. It go back to slavery. I started watching Roots. This was during the pandemic. And there was one scene where I can't think of the girl's name. She kept saying, "Our king will save us. Our king will save us." And all the black women were waiting on them to come through, the king, to beat up these white men. It never happened. And you could see where she lost respect. And basically, women are built, they're built to adapt. So if you can't uphold them when a new person comes in, it's like a pack of lions. You know what I'm saying? That lion go in the pack, and if he kill the current lion, he's going to take over. He's going to kill all the cubs that's there to start his own family, and then the woman conforms to it. I feel like that's a lot of what's happening in the black community, in my personal opinion. Jordan.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is several things. I think it's the music. I think it's feminism, and I think it's the feminine movement. I think feminism destroyed, and Candace Owens talks about that all the time, and I agree with her. I believe feminism destroyed a lot of what we feel, what that's going on with the black women, and I believe the men, a lot of the rap music has destroyed the black male, and I believe it's intentional. What happened to R&B music? What happened to love music? It's not that people don't have an appetite, because I meet a lot of young people today that's like, I love that old music. I still listen to it. I believe that why are they pushing people like Cardi B, and why are they pushing people like Sexy Red? These are not role models for women. These are women that are not classy. These are not women that just because you're a rapper don't mean you can't be classy. Even Megan Thee Stallion has a degree, but they made her into this sex figure. If you ever hear her talk, though, she's very knowledgeable and very educated. But they don't want the black women to see that side of her. So I think it's an intentional thing. I think it's very intentional. And I think, the role of saying that, women, even like Cardi B, I don't cook, I don't clean, but she's actually cooking and cleaning. Beyonce saying, this feminist icon, but she's at home with Jay-Z. All the single ladies, but she ain't been single in 10 years. Her husband just got possibly charged for sleeping with a minor, allegedly, and she's riding with him. So we have all these super independent women that are the face of feminism, but they secretly want a man. So I think it's a purposeful thing to destroy the black community. Destroy. I think black people are eating it up. You got young men being told that drugs and sex and killing is normal. You got lyrics. When we were growing up, we didn't even hear lyrics like that. I mean, our lyrics was bad, but a lot of our rap music was like fun. You had Nelly, you had 50 Cent, in the club, it was more party music. Now the music is flat out, you gonna die, I'm gonna kill you. And so there's a desensitizing to death. This generation will shoot you, where we would get into a fight, you take an L and you go on, keep moving. This generation, I've had students as a teacher where they say, I ain't taking no L. I'm gonna have to kill them. And so I think I believe what, like, Charleston White also says the same thing. So I agree with that.
Can I respond?
I'm gonna let K Dot. So what's your opinion on why the black woman don't listen? And after that, we'll transition.
All that don't matter, man. All that Cardi B, and they promote this. They only promote them because white people like Cardi B. The biggest consumers of rap music are white people. If the music damaging the black community, it should be doing the same amount of damage to the white community, and that has not been true since the inception of rap music because they're the ones that buy it the most. They drive the sales, they drive the streams. They go to a Kanye concert, go to a Cardi concert, go to any one of these large rap artists. It is 90% white people. We not at them shows. We don't buy those, and that's where they make their money. We don't go to those shows in mass numbers. We'll be there, but that's not who's driving their money. It is white people glorifying this stuff too, and it doesn't affect. No one makes the argument that it's ruining white families. So that I feel the music. I feel the argument that. But will I say that the music influences kids? Absolutely. Have we seen the drug and the violence and stuff like that have influence over kids? Yes, of course. But it happens across the spectrum. And it's not, no one's making the argument that it's destroying white homes and it's why black men aren't respected. Black men have had it hard in this country since day one, since the ship dropped us off here. My great grandfather, grandmother, day one. And it was the laws, it was the Jim Crow, it was the slavery, it was the war on drugs, it was the redlining. It's all of the things that they did to us. And then when we got into a position of power to say, hey, put this DEI in place when we were only the 8th biggest benefactor from it. Put this affirmative action in place when we were only like the 5th biggest benefactor or some shit like that from it. And Republicans said, hey, this is racist. Get that out of here. But nobody was trying to fix the problems beforehand. So when we put a little something in place to help black men earn their respect and what in America, which is how much money you make, because that's how people see you. This is America, right? When we finally started to make some headway, Republicans got in office and told you, yo, get this up out of here. We can't just be picking people because they're black, which isn't what DEI is. We can't just be picking people because of affirmative action, which white women were the biggest benefactor of affirmative action. Y'all are in your own way talking about what it's going to take to fix black communities and help black men stay in the household. Y'all have no answers for that. You just say, pull yourself up by your bootstrings. But that's what black people have been doing since the beginning. We go all the way back since day one. Had to run off the plantation. They hunted us and brought us back. Had to go through Black Wall Street. White people burned it down. Democrat, Republican, whatever. White people are white people, right? Every time black people started doing something in this damn country for themselves, they burned it down. They eminent domained it. They stole it. They repackaged it, and they sold it to their own people. But every time black people get something in place to benefit them on a legal and legislative situation, black Republicans want to attack it because y'all want to be different. And it makes no damn sense to me. But that's where I'll leave it. And that's why we struggle to get respect in our own home, because we tear down the very systems put in place to help us, because we say, oh, we don't need a hand up. When this country was built on handouts to white people, when they got the New Deal and the Reconstruction era, and they gave them loans they couldn't afford for houses that they would pass down and create generational wealth. White people did it too. They just made y'all feel bad about doing it.
All right. So this next clip is dealing with the church and why a lot of black men aren't going anymore.
Not regularly, no.
Thank you. Why aren't they there? Because y'all not going to church.
Well, I know why. I know why though. So
Yeah.
Why don't you go to church?
it's more of therapy rather than instruction for how to get things accomplished.
Oh,
So it doesn't really resonate with me, to be honest with you.
I
Now,
would have to agree.
Yeah, we had Nur Muhammad come in. He said it the best. He said, church in the Christian community is more about coping with life rather than conquering life. So
I think it depends on the
agree with
church.
All right. So I got that, and since we on time, I'm gonna play this last one. And this is what I really want to hear from Jordan on.
Churches are getting expensive. You think these preachers don't know it's a fucking recession? Every time they catch you catching the Holy Ghost, we're gonna take the plate one more time. Pass the plate one more time. I seen an old lady snap out of the Holy Ghost. She's like, oh hell no. Man, that's just taking advantage of the motherfucker right there. That's the 3rd time he done sent the plate around here. And that's it now. They got families that know how to time that motherfucking plate. You see the whole family get up. They know how to do it. You see the father get up first, motherfuckers just start walking out. Kids be right behind. Pastor, look at this shit right there. Look at that top.
I don't know if I ever told a story about the churches.
I don't think so.
Here in Atlanta, we wanted to buy a church out here, a building.
Oh, wow.
It cost $1 million. We said, we can't afford that because we grassroots.
Mm.
So the minister said, hey, no. We said, minister, how are you able to afford this $1 million building? He said, you go to the bank. I said, no. We went to the bank. All these bank, they say the churches have unreliable income because 1 week it may be good, next week it might be bad because it's based on donations.
Right.
He said, no. He said, Christians have a bank strictly for Christians.
Oh, wow.
So he gave us the address. Brothers go down there, and the clause is, in order to get the money funded for a church, millions of dollars, you have to teach what they want you to teach. They said to us, our teachings must align with theirs. Jesus is white. December 25th.
Christmas, yeah.
The laws are done away with. I'm like, we don't teach that. You can't get no money from us then.
So Jordan, being pastor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of that? The last part, and then I'm gonna ask you a question from the first video.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of it. I mean, I know that there are organizations that they require you to teach certain things in order to get money. They're more seeker-friendly churches or denominational churches or non-denomination mega churches, and they have things you have to do to require that money. I don't use it, and I don't think it should, because I don't think anybody should be teaching what you should teach in order to I preach the Bible, and I think that's what pastors should be preaching. And I'm not always popular in the church. I'm not the most popular person in the church, because I do agree with what he said. I think that the church has a real problem with reaching men, and I think that is a reason. I think that a lot of men are vision focused, and focused on what their vision, and I think a lot of the churches become medicating people to get through life. So I do agree with that, and I don't like a lot of the preaching that comes out of the church. That's why I said that a lot of people in the church don't like me. So they also don't like me for a lot of different reasons. So I would say I'm a little against the grain as a preacher in the church.
Okay. I sure thought we was gonna have butt heads tonight, but
no,
yeah.
No, I'm against the grain. I do believe that, I hate to see when as a Christian, I do believe there are other religious beliefs like the Muslims that do a lot more and appeal a lot more to black men, and I understand why they are. They reach these men in jail a lot of times. They give them a purpose. They give them something to look forward to. They give them a mission. Men are very mission driven. We're going to get out here. We're going to sell these bean pies. We're going to sell these magazines because we're going to help the community. We're going to help change our communities. A lot of pastors aren't doing that. A lot of the money is coming in just for the pastor, or just for the building. And a lot of men can't get with that. And so I definitely agree with a lot of that that's being taught. I can't even argue with it.
So I'm going to ask you, because this is an opinion that I have, and I'll ask you and you can tell me your experience. So I feel like with the guy, he said that the church is teaching people how to cope, and it deals more with the emotion, whereas men are vision focused. It doesn't really teach you how to prosper anymore. It's just more about the emotional well-being. And then this goes back, and I'm connecting this with the black women not listening. Do you think a lot of that now is the black women having a certain power financially, that the church has moved to get their dollar, and having you got the government pushing black men out. Now you have the church pushing black men out. Would you agree?
A little bit. I think that with black women is a little different, because I think black women are the emotional healing, and the sermons have a lot more of appeal to black women than they do to black men. I think especially, and just women in general, but I would say black women, for instance, I think the sermons that I've heard in Caucasian churches are a little different than I hear in black churches. And I think I've been in both, and I preached at both. I preach at a white church real soon, and we have mostly black people that come to our meetings. So I can speak both, because I preached in both segments. and the messages are different. And I think a lot of the message that are in black churches are about about things that are like, your things that are kind of pushing dysfunction. I would always say it's almost like at medicating the dysfunction that already goes on in the a lot of our communities, but it's not really giving them solutions to how to change their situation, like how to get out of poverty. Like, God's gonna make bring you out of this poverty, but it's not teaching people actually how to get out of poverty. How to use the word of God and how to use the principles. Because actually the Bible has a lot of principles about how to get wealth. I mean, if you read the book of Proverbs, there's a lot of principles about how to build wealth. There's a guy named Dave Ramsey. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. He's become very, very successful off the principles of teaching people how to get out of poverty using the word of God. The Bible actually teaches against debt. It says, oh, nobody, nothing but to love them. So that is important to teach people that you shouldn't go be getting credit cards and bills that you can't pay off, because that's not actually smart. That you should pay for things in cash, that you should the Bible says a wise man should leave an inheritance for their children, so that you should actually be building generational wealth to leave to your children. And when you start teaching these principles, I believe that the black community used to teach a lot of these principles, but I believe a lot of it has definitely not, and not so much no more. So unfortunately, it's unfortunate, but I teach different. We have millionaires come to our ministry. We just had a bishop who owns businesses, and we had a school of business, and we taught our people how to get wealth. We taught our people about credit. We taught our people about debt. We taught
Where
our
your
people
church at?
about all those things. So, I try to teach. I'm more of a teaching pastor, and I believe people need to be taught. But yeah, you definitely won't hear much argument on me about the church, because I believe there's a lot of problems, and I can sit on here for 2 hours and talk about the problems in the church, and I talk a lot about them in my own ministry.
Yeah, you need to let me know where your church is, because I'm so picky on churches. It's crazy.
Go to the atheist next, Wilbur.
K-Dot, what's your reason?
My reason for
you atheist or being against the church?
It don't do nothing for me or nobody, man. That I understand. I know if people find peace and love in religion, and I'm happy for them, man. I want them. They deserve that right. Whatever brings you peace and happiness. Like I said, it don't hurt nobody. But I find the church drives a lot of division. It drives a lot of hate, a lot of logical fallacy, a lot of things I refuse to believe. Not refuse to believe, but a lot of things that when I question it, all I get is pretty much the summation is, hey, God works in mysterious ways. For, I'm paraphrasing, lack of better, remembering what everyone says. I've talked to pastors, I've talked to people from different faiths. And like I said, it's just, I don't understand. They'll never make sense to me is to go to the church and give you money and hope and pray that your prayers get answered. And, your kid's sick, he's terminally ill, you got cancer. And the teachings, this is the way God teaches pain and love and all this other stuff. You lose a relative, you lose your mother, you lose a brother, whatever the case may be. I don't find any peace and comfort in it, in the teachings. Again, I don't judge anybody who does, but it's never brought me any solace. I found that on my own, and that's just where I'm at with it. And as far as the church being scams, yeah, some of them are. Some of them do teach and take from their group more than they give back, but I don't think all of them are taught. I don't think religion is intentionally filled with malice or meant to hurt people. That's why I'm not against it. That's just not for me.
Easy, you a church going fella?
Yeah, I go every now and then, but I think church is more than just spiritual healing. I think church is more for actually now networking and fellowship and stuff like that. So I think a lot of people misinterpret like why they go to church and stuff like that, or people go to church for different reasons. So I feel like everybody needs spiritual healing. I don't knock anybody that believes in what they believe, because you don't know what they went through in life on why they think the way they think. So I would never knock anybody for believing what they believe. You know what I'm saying? So, because everybody can make their own mind up. So,
Great. Do you think the church
it's a scam.
has played
I
a
think
hand? Okay.
yes. I think some churches do scam people, or they try to squeeze as much money as they. Well, I guess I say milk the cow. I say a lot of these churches are trying to milk the cow because they know a lot of people in their area got big homes and good jobs. So of course they're going to try to get as much money out as they can, because that's tax-free money. You know what I'm saying? Like, who doesn't want tax-free money? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I know you was going to me next. Like in the Bible, we all know Jesus flipped over the table with the money. And so with Joel Osteen and Creflo Dollar, even T.D. Jakes to a certain extent, none of these pastors have a private jet. And like I remember when a hurricane hit in Texas, and Joel Osteen was hesitant and let people like come into his church. That was a big thing. So but I'm pretty sure there's pastors out there that'll help people. Why I feel like black men are leaving church. I grew up in the church, and I don't go to church at all now. It's because my grandmother, my aunties used to force me to go to church. And I tell them, hey, when I get grown, I'm never going to church because it's boring. You in there all day. They hold you in there all day. Then I got older and I dated a Catholic girl, and I went to the mass. I was in there for 1 hour and I was out. I was like, okay, I can deal with this. But as far as like them saying that it gives you more encouragement, I feel like now you have a lot of people that are more spiritual, and you even got the females now talking about crystals and all types of stuff like that. And you got online church. So I feel like people are spiritual and they feel like they don't have to go to a building to get close to God.
85. I guess I can add.
Man,
I'm gonna ask you a controversial one. You think black women listen to the pastor more than they listen to their man now?
Yeah, absolutely. But I do believe in our Lord and Savior, man. I'm not perfect by any means, but I do believe in prayer. I do believe in the Holy Spirit, and I do believe that He's always watching everybody. And I also believe the reason that our country is the way it is today is because we got away from that. Every year, gradually, we eliminate.
You muffled a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was waiting. You muffled, Slim.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah, you good. You good.
Okay. Now I was just saying, every year we just, we gradually get away from the Bible. We get away from God. And I think what we're seeing now is literally revelation. We live in it right now. And I'm never going to judge anyone for not believing in the Bible or whatever their beliefs are, because that's just the Christianity way. That's just how it is. We don't judge nobody on that level. But we do call out what's right and what's wrong. So, everybody get it confused when it comes to the transgenders and the LGBTQ movement. It's not that we're against them. We're against the laws being above us. Like right now, those policies has basically gotten crazy, and it's gotten all the way down to the kids, man. And I don't care who you are when you start messing with them kids, bro. I got a problem with that, man. I don't really see any other way around. I don't care about no policies. I don't care about no tariffs. I don't care about none of that. When you start messing with them kids, we got a problem. And I believe our Lord and Savior has to basically step in at some point, and we got to start praying more and really understand that there is a higher power in charge.
All right, let's see, what's this comment? The men suck, and you just heard they are not spirit filled, so that's why they listen to the pastor more. Men need to get back in the church to become leaders again. So I don't know if you preach this, Jordan, but I know the Bible speaks strongly on the woman being, it's the God, Jesus, the man, the woman, and the kids. And in my heart, I really feel like we've gotten away from that, and the church is afraid to hold women accountable. there was a church. It was a video came out a long time ago. This woman used to go to this church a lot. She was sitting in the front pew, and the reverend was an African church, and the pastor finally asked her like, "Hey, how are you? Are you single?" And she was like, "No." And he was like, "You got a husband?" She was like, "Yes." And basically he was like, "Why are you here?" She was like, "Well, my husband doesn't want to come to the church and this and that." He was like, "Well, you're no longer welcome here unless your husband joins you." And she basically was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because in the word it says that you are supposed to be behind your husband. If he chooses not to go to church, you chose him as a husband. You should not be dishonoring your husband." A lot of people don't understand that the Bible is that strong on the hierarchy and the order of things. And I really feel like that's why the Black community is really tore up, because that's what the war is really about. It's about power. And you have the Black women now who, in a lot of senses, are holding the power, especially in the church. They're the ones giving the most offering. The men are more skeptical. We just don't give up our money freely. Women don't. They don't have a sense of what money is like men do. So they'll just freely give it up to anybody who pushes their emotion. Men are more skeptical. Why am I giving my money to the church? Is the church helping the community? Is it doing this? The women will just pay to play to be there, to have this man in front of them, instead of listening to a man who either fathers their child or they're married to. I really feel like that's a big issue of what's wrong with the community, and we got to get back to that structure. And we can't do it by force. That's not even our culture anymore. But it's almost like that's the only way to do it, or it's going to take like some crazy asteroid hitting in the middle of Missouri or something, and everybody have to rely on each other to survive. I really feel like that's where we got into in today's society.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And I will go back to even what he said about, that I think one of the things I want to just say about what B5, I believe it said, is that I believe that, the Christian faith, it's not just something that makes people feel good. I believe it's something that is deeply, African Americans have always been very deeply religious. And there was a reason for that. And it was because, a lot of our ancestors were deeply religious, deeply Christian. And it wasn't that it was any type of coping mechanism for them. And it really helped them. Martin Luther King, who was a preacher, a Baptist pastor, Harriet Tubman, they used to call her Moses, because she was a deeply spiritual woman. And I could say in my own life that, you know, uh, you know, I couldn't imagine life without God, without my relationship with God. I wouldn't want to. And so I would never judge anybody, because like I said, I could talk to anybody, or on my job, talk to anybody who doesn't have faith. There's no judgment. But I think it's just, I think it definitely has played a big part in bringing the African American community where we are, and especially and even our country. I mean, our country was deeply Christian. I can go line by line to how deeply this nation was built on Christian values. Um, and so, the people can get as mad about that as they want. They can scream and shout about it all they want, act like it didn't happen. And I know a lot of people down the left that'll fight me all day about that. I never fight about it because I know it's true. This nation was built on Christian values, period. I mean, I'm talking about from the very first people who came over here, the Pilgrims, the Puritans, who are Christian denominations. Those are Christian denominations. Uh, to the Bible being the first books that we read in our public schools, to the lot of the people who founded this country. A lot of the reason slavery ended was because of Christian people who believed abolitionists who believed that Black people were just as valuable. And I believe atheism has done way more horror than Christianity has. So I can go to Hitler. I can go to communism, where usually atheism is at the center of communism. A lack of belief in God, and if you don't believe in a higher power, And you don't, sometimes I'm not saying that everybody who does an atheist is like that. I'm just saying that there are people who have been atheists who have used the lack of belief in God to treat people like they're nothing but animals. And when you believe in our Constitution, they put that all men are created in the image of God. And so that was a premise of our whole society, that every person is made in the image of God and are endowed with their creator, with God's nature, basically. And when you go into look at like Stalin, a lot of these people who were communists, they didn't believe in they didn't believe in a deity, and if they did, they didn't believe he was very personal or had anything to do with people. Evolution, which is the teaching that Hitler believed in, atheism. He believed in. He wasn't really an atheist, but he was definitely an
He was
evolutionist.
a he was a Christian. He believed
He
in
wasn't a
God.
Christian.
He believed in
Okay, guys,
God.
we running out of time. Jordan,
Yeah,
let
go ahead, but I'm gonna answer the question, and then I'm gonna have everybody do their closing thoughts. I think this is very important to say.
go ahead.
All right, so there's another comment. So are you turning single women away from the church, or women who come without husbands? Yes, I think that should happen, and it's not necessarily about kicking women out. It's about accountability. Our main purpose on earth is to further humankind. We get together, we procreate, and then any other time we got more time because of grandparents. But after that, we're gone. And how we stay, it's like your cells in your body. Your cells reproduce, the old ones die, it keeps you living. That's how our race is. We make new kids, we're gone. So why I'm saying that is, it's better in a two-parent household. So the reason why if the church were to do that, it would incentivize women not only to find a husband, but find the right one. And that's why I said the pastor, what he was trying to say is, you shouldn't have chose a woman who didn't follow God, who didn't have good moral standing. You went and chose Pookie, who don't want anything to do with church. So that's what this is about. It's not about turning women away and hurting them. And it may hurt them, but when you make decisions, you need to make the best decisions. You got to have some type of self accountability. And what I'm trying to say here is, a lot of our faith and everything is based in the church. And I think if the church were to step up and start holding us accountable, then that would help the Black race. But I will say, to close out, the cat's out the bag. Pandora's box is open. Women have tasted power. They're not trying to come back, and we got a lot of men that's the men who get the women. They can't stay in one household. They and all the women. A lot of women are sharing fathers out here, and then the men who can't get any women, they're just stuck off doing whatever they're doing. So what this video is about, the people who profit, like being Crump with racism and the church, the pastors. At this point, I woke up and I'm like, you know what? I'm not mad. I used to be mad at pimp pastors, Al Sharpton, and the rest of them. At this point, I'm like, I don't fault them for profiting anymore, because we're just done as a race. And that's all I gotta say.
Jordan, tell them where they can find you, and give us your closing thoughts and what you thought about the man cave.
I'm on Voice USA 2024. We have that's where you can find me. I'm on Reverend Jordan Wells on Instagram. I'm on X, Voice USA, and I'm on Rumble. I'm on True Social, Voice USA. And so you can go follow me on there. We do a lot of political teaching on, a lot of, we talk about everything. But I think it's I had a really good time. I think it's a very good thing. I'm glad to see Black men having this discussion, because I think that, to be honest, Black men are the ones that really help put Trump over the edge in a lot of places, because I do believe Black men are waking up. And I do believe, unfortunately, our Black women are not. And I believe that, Kamala, whether you voted for Kamala or not, it's the truth that she won 95% of the Black women vote. And so even having these conversations, I think, is exposing and it's bringing people into a different way of thinking. Because I think for too long in the black community, we've been told you can't think for yourself. Let us think for you. And that's one thing that even pissed me off with Obama is when he said, y'all black men need to get in line. Y'all being misogynist. How dare y'all think for yourself? Y'all need to vote, get back over here and vote the way we tell y'all to vote. And whether you're a Democrat, an independent, or a Republican, I think it's good to have conversation and challenge people's way of thinking in our community. Because I do believe that our community is in a very dark place. I believe we're underperforming in every aspect. You know, one of the things I'm gonna close with this is that, you know, I think a lot of black people embrace the victim mentality, and I look and
Amen.
I'm blown away with how Mexicans and Chinese people, they come over here and they thrive. You know, they start a business immediately and they rise. Africans, we go to an African church sometimes. Now they become doctors and lawyers, and we're still yelling about reparations. So I just think that black people need to get up, stop complaining about how racist American is, stop complaining all the time, and just get up and try to fix our culture, because we have a lot to fix. And blaming the white man ain't gonna do it. The white man is not just the reason alone we're in this situation. I'm not knocking the issues of racism, but I think black people have to take some accountability, and we have to do better. And I think conversations like this is how we're gonna do better.
Slim, you muted. You do this every night.
I do it every damn night, man. I just be respected. You know what I mean? But great show, Jordan. Very knowledgeable. I appreciate you, brother, man. Please don't stop doing what you're doing. Keep educating these people the right way, man. Thank you for everything. And yeah, man. You know, this is what we do, man. Each and every week. I'm actually gonna be doing some traveling here shortly, so I'm gonna be off the show for a while. But you know, I still think K-Dot need a hug and a role model. Still love him. We got this.
Easy, what's your closing thoughts?
Yeah, my closing thoughts was this was a great show, and I appreciate the guests coming on and doing their thing. I wanted to say, you know, like throughout my life, honestly, I believe in Christianity, but at the same time, I believe some stuff that's in the Quran. So, like, I didn't get to say that earlier because, you know, the subject matter kind of changed up. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
K-Dot's a part of the new party. This is his first time on the Man Cave. K-Dot, give us your closing thoughts on what you thought about the Man Cave.
It's good, man. You know, I'd like to dive a little bit deeper into some of these topics one day, man. Hopefully, we can get into that because, like I said, 85 Slim believes anything that Trump puts on a pamphlet and sells it. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. You know, we gonna get him out that cult, though. We are gonna get him out that cult. But outside of that, man, you know, with the topics at hand, I do appreciate y'all, you know, sharing your platform with me. Let me come on here and be the opposition. And you can find me on, like I said, you can find me on TikTok at dem_K.DEM_KDOT. Micro influencer, man, spreading the good word of the leftist mind virus that the Republicans are scared of. And that's what's going to save America, man. I'm going to get y'all over there one day. I'm going to get y'all over there. But yeah, thanks.
For sure. Bo, you want me to go first or you go last?
You can go ahead.
All right, Jordan. First off, thank you for coming. I know we tried to get you on the show before. I'm glad. No, it was last minute. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you to the cast. Slim, I hope you travel safely. You know, and you know we just gonna keep bringing this. We do this every Monday, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Volger hosts the Man Cave. That's Monday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then we got Tuesday and Thursday with the new party. And Nora hosts that, and K-Dot's over there on Thursday. And Slim, he pop in and out whenever he want, but Slim mostly come like every day. So, you know, we be doing it. But yeah, guys, thank you for coming, and a great show as well, Volger.
I just want to say, just realize this is for black men and black women. While we're down here fighting, the government, the media, and even a lot of the black men at the top are laughing, watching, and they're profiting off our division. Just remember that anytime you see a Ben Crump or Al Sharpton jumping up every time something racial happens, that's what's going on. When you see them promoting Sexy Red, they're promoting single life and 304 life instead of marriage. That's what they're doing. It's more profit in 2 houses than 1 house. And I'll keep it at that. Always vote.
Always vote. Y'all have a good night. For sure.
Introducing the new party. We live stream every Tuesday and Thursday p.m. Eastern Standard Time.